Good day, good day. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's basically, I'm not going to have any kind of revelations, I think, today. So basically, my presentation would be can be ended up to one word. Let's just use the feedback. Thank you for attention. Any questions? No, but basically I only have 3 slides for my presentations. In this presentation, they're not some kind of a really genius or whatever. They're not going to be a big revelation for you. But basically, as far as we are also content makers, we understand that the interest of the audience is our main goals. We have to have a clear understanding what our audience needs. And basically, in some way, it can be then tracked to... They're making photos. It's kind of like ideal thoughts. There's nothing new about that. Your audience. This is something as old as the world. I know. Make the photos. Of course, make the photos. But tracking the main goals of your audience, your interest of your audience, is the main thing that you have to know. So sometimes you have to update it in some way and to change your goals, because when you're working with one audience and one constituencies, then there's one interest of that. When you have more people joining you, then the interest might change, or it might be floating to different directions and different priorities. We have to always be targeting those interests. The working process and working on our mistakes is once again nothing super original. Creating content, seeing the results, and making the amendments, and there's all the time in cycles, all the time around the audience interest. So there's nothing really a lot of super new about that. So we're making our content based on the interest of the audience. So we are starting from the very beginning. We know that there is an interest of the audience. We know what they need. We started the content. Sorry. From the very, very, very beginning, we have started with the hypothesis that we wanted to do what we needed at this very moment. That was the very beginning of the Toronto Television. The 3 founders, we have been coming from the media. We've left media, and we decided to do that because we have really been tired of working on the mythical portrait of the television audience and what we really wanted to do. We didn't really like what this audience needed. We wanted to make something that was much more interesting for us. We were around 30 years old by that time, and we wanted to do that, and it turns out that a lot of other people have interest in that as well. Then we have understood that we are being oriented on the quite bad direction. We've been oriented on our own interests, but it turned out that a lot of people like that, and a lot of people have interest in that. That is how we gained our first audience, and then we have gained this audience. We have created something, take a look at what was the result, read the commands, understood whether it liked it, or created something new, understood that it didn't work out. So, okay, we understood that we have to dig in other direction. So this is the constant process that has been held there for 7 years already, and that gives us the opportunity to understand why should we go to, which direction we should not go, or where we should go to. So it's a constant process that is repeated constantly, and it's not some kind of a new thing. So we're starting with a hypothesis, as it always goes. Our hypothesis was to do something that we like. You can use any other hypothesis. Even if it will not work out from the very beginning, based on science, that's the coolest thing to do. You have received the results where you should not go to. That's cool, because now you know that there's nothing there that you need. So you have to go into other direction. That's very good as well. So when we have created this content on the first interest of the audience, as we believe that, we have seen what are the results. We have made some amendments to that as well. And our surveys has really helped us, that we have done together with Pact, in our partnership with Pact. That was really cool for all of us, because we have tracked some of the hypotheses that we've had. We are talking out with our audiences. We are checking up with their response all the time. We're reading out through all of the commands. We're answering a lot of commands. A lot of resources are being dedicated to communicate with our audience, because we might have a couple of thousands commands at our next show. It gives us the opportunity to track the mistakes that we haven't outlined before. So basically, those are the main results that we do. So, this is the top screen is about the social media, the YouTube and Facebook. The Facebook has started from, you see, plus 27 subscribers from September to September, Instagram plus 16, and YouTube plus 58,000. subscribers. This is our Patreon throughout all of the time. So you can see we haven't made Patreon for quite a long time, and a lot of people have said, like, how can we donate? When will you have this moment for donation? We've never done it, but then we've made a Patreon then, and everything has really burst out. We will never believe that. On 1 to 3 months, we had $5,000 a month. And this $5,000 a month, that was something that we've had because one of our subscribers, she really wanted to donate this $2,000 a week, and she subscribed to this $2,000 a month. And she signed up in April, but then she made up a smaller amount but we have collected the same amount. So we've met her because, we have falling on the floors when we have $2,000. Someone has subscribed, and we're like, lying for 2 days and like, maybe we should check, maybe that's a mistake. But we have seen all together. On summer, you have seen a little bit of downfall then in August, September, but then we have seen that all as well. We're going to the vacation during the summer. We do not generate the new content for almost 2 months, and we do hope that will be getting better. Right now, we have more than $9,000 a month in Patreon. Patreon takes 10%, around 10% on different commissions, and around 20% what we're paying in taxes in Ukraine. So minus 30%, so that would actually be $7,000. That is something that we have after the taxes. So that's all from my side. 3 slides as I promised. 1, 2, 3. Without this is a add-on. So, but if you have some questions, I think that will be much better for you because I was honest. I don't have like something super original that you will not be able to find in the internet. So please, if you have some questions, I will gladly take those. Hi, my name is Victoria. I'm coming from Cherkasy. Please, can you tell us who is the main audience for you right now? Because I've been watching you for quite a long time already. I sometimes believe that I've already gone too old, and I think that you've turned out to the youngest audience. And once again, how do you find this line when you're following the audience or following your own interests, or whether it takes you aside, or maybe you're feeling that we want to do this, but it won't be interesting for the audience. So how does the audience change as well? Well, our audience right now, the audience that we have is around starting from 18 to 34. It's not like the main audience are just the most active audience based on the other demographical groups. Sometimes I believe I'm too old for them and for some young people. But you are right in saying that sometimes some of the programs there are different from one another. It depends on the week. But we are getting to the younger audience because we do not want to leave them, to leave them for some kind of, pro-Russian or Russian directions. We want to get them engaged into this right directions with those ideas that we believe to be right. And this is a very hard question about when the audience gives you already tells you what you should do and what you should do. We're trying to work in this as well, but we will not be able to get out of it. As a content producers, we depend on that. The interest of our audience is our main direction to keep on moving further on. So if the audience is interested in comics or comic books, we can tell them about the, judicial reform as a comic. So this is how we use in the interest of our audience, and this is how it works for media and everywhere. The interest of the audience, our goals, that's like that. It works just the same thing as for, the nutrition, maybe just for the vitamins or the medication not to be that harsh, then you have these really fruity coatings. This is how we trick one another. Okay, thank you very much, dear friends. More questions to come? Questions from online, yes. Yes, I have a question about the financial independence of Toronto TV. The question from Dmitry Lobanov. What is the share from donors and audience, and what is the main basis of the financial independence? The donor support. The donor support is our basis and foundation. We were really ambitious to take it down, but then we have come to one important lecture that has been supported by the donors. Not lecture, but no, it was a kind of event like you have today, when the American independent media has shared their experience as well, and they have been sharing their experience and what they have gained throughout this decades of years, and they have told us that the independent media will not be able to become self-reliant. So basically they're working on the offline events, donor support, their own activities, then I don't know, any kind of charitable activities, so on and so forth, and we have become quite okay with that, and we have understood that it's much better for us. So we're not that kind of losers as we used to believe ourselves to be before. Right now, with the donor support and donation support, we have been developing the advertising support for businesses. We have Patreon, and I think that we receive most as a YouTube channel of Patreon in Ukraine. I don't know, we used to be like that, but maybe there's someone already winning over us. We cannot include it into our budget. Our main task number one that we have caught up to by the end of the new season, just for us to have our own studio, because it will help us to provide more content, and based on content you can already monetize the content and so on and so forth. So what we decided, that all of the money we will accumulate from our subscribers and from our commercial collaboration. So we are gathering all of this money to have our own studio. This is going to be something, this is going to be our buffering fund when we're going to have the gap with our donor support. Well, we're covering that from there as well. One third, something more than 1/3 of our production has been covered with our own money. Okay, not our own money, but the money of our subscribers and some money that we have engaged from money. This idea works. We don't want to budget it for the future, but we see that working. We can't really believe that we have gotten to the advertising and we're doing something with advertising already. Okay, thank you very much, dear friends. You have a chance for the last questions, please. Hello. I would like to have a following question, because in our program you said that about this feedback of the users in order to create the attractive content. Can you give us a couple of examples of some kind of the feedback of commands that helped you to make some really, really cool content for the Toronto Television? It's hard for me to identify one case, because basically, in 1 week we might have even like 5,000 commands under one show. So basically, working with the commands, it's a specific direction of our work. We monitor it, and it can be the source for our next show. So we have 5 or 8 blocks in our each show each week. That might be some kind of new track or new band, or might be the link for a video that the audience has shared with us that we should see. But usually what we are searching in the commands is how people find what they have seen, what they have watched. So this is the question we're trying to answer with that. That is the most important for us, and it helps us to create the following content, the next content, considering these issues. So this actually helps us all the time to have basically the good statistics for us. There's a good selection. They have told us, do you like it? They were reading it out. Okay, so maybe we should do something in a different way. They didn't understand this moment. Not like they understood this and do, but there's a lot of commands that is something I wasn't that clear. Or there's a lot of commands that was like, wow, cool, great that you have mentioned that. So this is basically the feedback for something that you have already made. For the new materials and for the new reports, it's not like we're waiting for that to give us our next commands, like give us information about what to do in the next videos, in the next episodes, because we monitor internet a lot, the news content, we're listening a lot. So I think that this is something that gives us the opportunity to be the first to raise some of the topics, important topics in Ukraine, so someone that has never raised before due to different reasons. I think that in Ukraine we are the most the ones that are watching the regional media most of all. We are monitoring like 200 regional media, and we are watching them on a weekly basis. Like for example, in the morning, like know how my day starts. Lviv news, and like for example, in the next 24 hours for today. And you're watching for this like videos, you have watched through that, okay, Ivano-Frankivsk news or Prikарpattia news, and that's how you go with every region. So you have watched all of that for today, then you're doing something new. So this is the same thing that's going on. YouTube, Lviv, news for today. So like this is how we're working on that. So this is my part of work, for example. The other guys, and they also have another part of work, so they are monitoring the specific like YouTube channels for these regional content makers. They have some people who really like people who make it. So there's a lot of contact we're tracking. So sometimes we are now the first from what was happening. I think that's our unique product. So this is something that we're really proud of. And we are really happy about that. Okay, let us have one more question. One more question from here, said he. We had a question here. We had a question here and hand here. Well, we can sit on together then later on. Yes, Serhiy Mikhailik from the anti-corruptional headquarters. So to be influential is about being seen on some kind of the rating television. Have you seen the collaboration about that? Because I know that you have been seen at Suspilna and you have been shown. So are you would like to collaborate with them, or maybe people are offering you collaboration and you refuse that? So whether you would like to be on a TV channel? I don't know that being influential is to be mentioned on the television. You'll be having more views. You'll have more support. Now it's just like it seems like that. It seems like that. That's what it seems. But basically, when you are, for example, at the first buttons of Ukrainian television, you have some commitment to the owners, for example. This is one part of it. The other part of it is that the television has lost its position as, it's lost its monopoly for the audience. If before that, around 10 years ago, you might have said that, like if you have a show at 1+1 or at Intel television, I don't know, or on the STB or any other channel in Ukraine, and everyone knew who you are, and you knew that perfectly, that you will be, you bought a video there, you're the king of the world for the next 6 years, no one will touch you. But right now, the ratings of the television have downfallen strongly. Even the number of the audience that watches TV has downfall as well. The internet is the new rule. Everyone is in the internet. Even if you're on the internet, everyone is watching in the smartphones, not just in the laptop or on the tablets. You have to be in the mobile devices. You don't have to be on the TV if you're on the internet. So there's a gap. There's a gap between this understanding between the youngsters and the adults, because they don't have a lot of in common. Before that, everyone was synchronizing through television. Right now, there's nothing in common. Celebrities, movies, text, everyone is so diverse, and that will be the problem for us as well. That one we have to. We'll resolve in that, how to synchronize parents with children. I don't know. So maybe living room or the street will be the common spaces for them. But I know common memes or common archetypes, there's fewer and fewer of those, because basically there is a very highly diversified types of receiving your information. The television does not cover our indicators. Our indicators are really just the same of the indicators of the television. We're not ready, for example, to follow the editorial policies of some television channels, and they will not do that, because tomorrow we're going to be making jokes about their owner, the friends of their owners. So because Okay, so we will cover all of the hands. So let us close our session with a Q&A session with that. Okay, G'day. I have tried to write this question in YouTube. We're deleting it, yes. But something prevents me for that. But maybe I will ask you it right now here. So do you have a goal or the value of your organization as the media? I think that they have to be there because, the donors, they will not provide it as an empty space when they provide some granting support. And then the question there is, so when you are creating the content, whether you follow in your mission goals and aims, how do you then filter this content based on your values and priorities, and whether you filter the advertisement based on your values? Thank you. Yes, of course, we have the values that has been written in statutes. That is more than formality for us. One of our goals and aims and tasks is let's put it this way, we're really sensitive. We're really sensitive to building critical thinking, which is very important for us. What we understand under that we always have to be those who are helping people to see that there are other points of views. There's always other points of views to any issues that is there. Why is that important? Because it helps out with communication. Society is only society when there is connection between the different groups, when there is communication with different groups. Doesn't mean that they have to drink together or be friends. They have to communicate. They have to communicate that they'll be able to communicate only when they see that there are multiple points of view to different questions. To have the prevalence of one point of view is really bad for the society, is harmful for the society, because society starts to fall apart or start to be developing in the slowest pace. And then you have yours and you have the others. So it's very, very bad. But we are supporting the dialogue. Critical thinking gives you the good doubts, gives you the opportunity to ask the question why, of what are your reasoning. So this is something that we are always considering, to give the new information to us as well, because this is the, not to say the long-time desire for someone to dominate the media field, to edit it, to dominate on it. And our task is to guarantee and to show everyone that we are not owned by anyone. We're not being controlled by the businesses. We're not being controlled by the state. So those are our rules. This is how we work. We support the freedom of speech. We support the democratic values. And we really want everyone to be treated according to the law and according to the rules of the games currently available. These are our rules, and this is something that we declare constantly. And on one hand, this is our weakness, because sometimes it's harder to find some kind of financial support. But in the same time, speaking on the physical security, this is our shield. Because when someone disagrees with us, for example, personally with me, then everyone knows that this is my personal point of view, and it's always argumented, it's always reasoned why. And everybody knows that no one has paid anything to us to make us say something. So, all the politicians know that, because we are criticizing everyone in the same amount. So we have been, laughing out on politician X, and then the X and that are laughing by the Y politician. So we are laughing on all of the politicians. When the politicians asked us to do the advertisement, that was like 5 years ago. So we have agreed to that. Yes, okay, we will make some advertisement for you, but these are our rules. And at the very beginning of the advertisement, we're going to say this is advertisement. This has been paid. Like, for example, attention, the political party has paid us for that, and they will be just the same. Okay, they didn't fit for them. So basically, when we are selecting the commercial collaborations, and when we're selecting the people who would like to work on a commercial basis, we do not with any kind of alcohol producers or cigarette producers. When McDonald's asked us, we were not able to help them with advertising their product because we have been providing the promo for their charitable foundation. So, that was kind of, half and half, but we cannot promote some bad habits. So we're not advertise something that is connected to Russia and Russian money. Unfortunately, we will forced to refuse Kyivstar, because basically we understand that this is half a year of the financial support, but that was money from Russia, and we do not work with that. So there are some rules where, like, we don't promote gambling. We had experience with gambling at the very beginning in 2019. At the very beginning of our advertising activities, we tried it out, and we understood that no. We had a Paris match collaboration, I think, and we've tried it for once time, and we've tried it out, and we never worked with them any kind of gambling or bets. That's all. So yeah, that's like, we have the white list, we have the black list of the advertisers gave it. That's it. Wanted to clarify, but what about the content? Because for me, as for the audience of your show, I have been watching for quite a long time, I have a feeling that you have taken from the value-oriented content, that you have switched to the entertaining content. Well, right you are. We had make it as a conscious choice because we would like to cover a bigger audience in this case. So when we have 100,000 subscribers, I think we have got the maximum of the audience that you could engage with a value-oriented content. We have understood that whatever it is that you're doing, the value of the media is about its audience. And we have changed the proportion. So the values are the same for us. We don't have them that much expressed in the content, but we have grown the audience. And the same values that we practice slightly, not that frequently in time, but we can still broadcast it to the audience. And yes, right you are, we have lost some of the people that what they have been expecting from us, from what they came from the very beginning. We're really sorry about that. We remorse it. They watch us, but they watch us not that frequently as they did. But this kind of approach gives us the opportunity in the critical moment to guarantee the coverage of the critically important messages for the society. So basically, when we have 100,000 subscribers and some 100,000 reach, then we'll be able to provide this critically important message to the 100,000. But when we have 500,000, 5 times better reach, so we have to keep the connection with this audience, because we know that when the most important time will have to go, like you have to engage into the vaccinations or whatever, then we will be able to do with the vaccination, and we're going to be already working with those people who are, I don't know, didn't get vaccination, not because the doctors have told them not to, but because that's going to be a chip under your skin or something like that. I can see that working on the magnetic fields. So basically, yes, that is our job, to provide the critically important messages to the broader audience. For this, when the critical moments for the development of the society, we can be easily engaged and cover the most of the audience with the right message. In order to do that, we will not be able to do that if we will not support our contact with the audience regularly. We will not be able, I don't know, to provide 100,000 channel with advertisement and to cover 500,000. It won't be working. It will work in figures, but right now we're mostly directed on providing the right messages. Thank you, Roman, for your work and for your today's presentation. Thank you.